out.
Oh, it wouldn't? I thought after 10 minutes it was like,
It's only with Facebook, and that was a long time
Oh,
ago.
I
We
didn't
haven't
know
used
that.
Facebook
Okay, I
oh,
did
I
not know
didn't
that.
realize that that had
Yep,
changed. Sorry.
did not
No,
know that.
StreamYard.
I'm way behind the
It will not
times.
stop.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll be back.
Now we know. Didn't know. Now we know. I don't know.
There's
Poppy.
says 4 people watching. Don't know who.
Puppy, what do you want? There's thunder around here at the moment. I think it's making her a little. She's not usually antsy, but just let me try and let her out before it starts to pour. Hang on just a sec.
Yeah, sure. No,
Do you
go
need to
ahead.
go out? What?
I'll just be here.
You want to go out? Come on. No. Come here. Come here. Come here. Out. Come on. Out. You want to go out? Okay, where you go? Go on. Okay, just come in and calm down. Come on. Come on. You don't need to do anything. Just calm down. Come on. Come here. No, she didn't need to go and
Nope.
do anything.
Just anxious about the.
Well, she's usually not. Hannah was antsy about it, but Poppy usually is fine. I don't know. She's just sort of like, I don't know what she's doing. Come here. Come here. Anyway. Well, that's not good, Steph. Yeah, you've got to figure out if you should be weight bearing on it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. So I mean, I was honestly like completely shocked to see the extent of everything because
Were ya?
it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt that much. Like not really.
No.
It's just kind of swollen and sore.
Well, the bleeding thing concerns me a bit.
Well, that's why I was like, I need to look at this. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh, something bad happened in there. So,
Well, I mean, I'm having this, the neuropathy thing, whatever, that's aside. But when when Jillian and I went over to Niagara Falls, I didn't slip, I didn't twist or anything,
Good.
but it was very uneven ground a bit. And getting out of the car when I came back, it was like, anyway, I happened to mention that to my doctor. And I mean, her comment was, your cartilages, when you get older, get sort of shaggy. And she thinks they kind of catch on things sometimes.
they can, yeah.
Anyway, I'm doing the Voltaren thing. It seems to
Okay.
be helping. So
Okay, good.
Anyway, hopefully it's nothing much. Certainly nothing much compared to you.
Not a tibial plateau fracture.
He's looking perplexed.
Yeah. Hello?
So, what?
Oh, that's
Can you
you're
hear me?
sounding better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound better too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
You
I said
definitely
it sounds better.
Okay, but what was the adjective?
It
Slightly
sounds
Better?
significantly?
Definitely better. It's
Definitely,
definitely
okay.
better.
Definitely.
It's definitely.
Definitely.
So I don't know if you wanted to share your knee issue online or not, but I missed
Yeah,
all
I
that.
probably will make mention of it, but gloss over it until I know more about. I don't know what to do with it as of yet.
Oh, you have gloss on your knee? Oh,
Yeah, it's like lip gloss, but it's for the knees.
Yeah.
Anyway, the only person in the chat I think is Dave, if he's still there. If
There's
Dave's
one
Dave.
on.
person.
I don't even know why I try to use the damn MacBook Air anymore.
Yeah.
Just causing all
It's
kinds
problems,
of problems.
right?
So this Mac Mini, I think, is just going to be my dedicated
Yep.
podcast machine
Yep.
until I get something else.
So we're not going to do the intro. Well, we won't do the intro because we don't have Roger saying. But we're not going to do the start. We're just going to like jump in with Steph. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Now,
Yep.
why is Reaper not? Okay.
So Steffi, we're planning on doing 1C and 14 with you, but 1B kind of looked interesting because I think it's a twatter.
It
and
is.
it's a water situation. So we thought maybe you might want to do that one too. I don't
We
know.
can cover it. I don't know that I'll have much to add on it, but I don't know that anyone else would either. But we can at least.
Yeah, the final report basically explains
says they-
exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, up to you. I just sort of thought when I was looking at them, I thought, well, that sort of sounds like
What
something
was
more.
14? I'd already read
That's
that.
Deanna's first skydive.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then you can talk about what you've been up to, and that'll be that.
Okay.
So an hour max or whatever it takes.
Yeah. Or whatever. I mean, if it's less
Yep.
than that, that's fine too.
Yep.
I know we all got stuff to do.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Jeff doesn't.
Nothing.
He's retired.
Yeah,
Retired.
actually, though, I do. So I'm still editing the show that we just recorded
617 on
on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why does it feel like we just because we just did record.
Oh, Dave's back. Hi, Dave. I'm pretty glad I got up so early and got this thing ready today because it was all over the place. So anyway.
Well, you're usually up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
Well, five's my usual, but I was up before that this morning. Cleaned my oven. I did all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, as you do at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
I'm most productive early in the morning.
Me
if I'm up, I need to.
Yep.
3 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like,
by noon, I'm kind of done.
yeah. So it's great that we're doing this at 7 p.m.
No, that's all right.
on a
Are we
Monday.
going to do... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, you can still hear me.
Yeah.
Are we doing Unity?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
I think I
let's
closed
check in.
mine. Okay.
Okay, it's all good.
Okay,
so I can start in the background then. You guys just jump in. See you later, guys.
All right.
Oh, no. Don't leave us.
We can figure this out. We're doing 1B, 1C, and 14.
14, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
1B, 1C, and 14. And yeah, as Liz said, we're not going to start. For those of you watching the video, either live, looks like our only live audience member, Dave Abbey. Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Yay.
Love you, Dave.
Thanks for being here.
It's been a while.
It has.
Hope you're doing
That's what
well.
I said to him,
We
yeah.
need to catch up. Ketchup? Mustard?
Can I have some ketchup?
You going to be at Oshkosh this year, Dave? If so, then I will see you there in person. God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Quick, don't rise.
But so we're going to we'll just jump into that news item stuff. And
Couple of
Do you
news
want to do
items.
both news items? B and C?
Might as well, yeah.
B will probably just read. C, I can, if you got
Okay.
questions, I can.
You'll be
And
at
then-
Osh. Yeah,
yeah, we'll just kind of knock out B pretty quickly.
Dave will
after
be
that.
at Oshkosh.
Yay, Dave!
Woohoo!
We'll see you. And then so we'll just I'll just piece all
We'll
that
do
stuff
that.
together.
We'll do getting to know us with Steffi and one feedback, and then that's it, right?
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me
See you
hit the
guys.
recorder and make sure that we're doing that. Okay. And let me get. Okay. Well, you know what? It won't matter, really. I don't think. Well,
If you wanted to, yeah.
I see. Well, there's always a chance.
And you could add it to the next session.
Yeah. I'm recording and I'm pulling up the. Okay, I got to get out of post edit and go into current show. Oh, it's just so confusing to me. I know I'm overwhelmed. We're gonna go on Pete. Okay. Okay, now Evernote, you can go ahead and load up my note if you'd like. Note unavailable. Okay. No, hang on. I don't know. It's just that kind of day. Okay, it says refresh. I'm refreshing. Let me refresh the entire thing from the tab. Thank you. Okay, it is now. Hey, I got it. Yes. All right, things are looking up. Okay, I guess you can start our timer now. All right, let's hit this new. Let's do this news item from the Aviation Herald. It's an accident. I do believe that we covered this shortly after it occurred last year on May 16th. They have now issued a final report. And let's just remind everybody about what happened here. It involves a TMA, a Maldivian Airlines.
Ding.
De Havilland. Let's see if this is working. I don't know. Yeah, see, it works. That's not it.
Like that's not the.
Okay, here we go. Yay. Let's see. It's a DHC-6, a Twin Otter -300 on floats. And they were performing a charter flight from Luvavushi to
Nope.
Vamuli. No?
I don't know. Probably. Yes.
To Vamuli or Vamuli in the Maldives with 5 passengers and 3 crew, landed at the water aerodrome at Vomuli, however, hit a swell, bounced, the left wing dropped and contacted the water surface. The crew did not notice any anomalies immediately during landing. There were no injuries. However, substantial damage to the left wing was discovered later. And so the final report that was issued on the 30th of April of this year says that the probable cause was the aircraft inadvertently hit a swell during landing. So it wasn't that swell.
It was
Limited experience of the PF, the pilot flying to operate to Category C water aerodromes, whatever that means.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. Complacency and lack of vigilance on the part of the pilot monitoring to closely monitor the situation and take over when necessary. And the pilot monitoring was the pilot in command, the captain or training captain. And non-conducive power management for the aircraft behavior during a bounce. Non-conducive.
It seems to. So I read through the rest of the report, and there was conflicting information given by the FO and the captain about what happened with the power levers once they hit that swell and bounced unfavorably. The FO recalled adding power, whereas I think the captain thought that the power levers were brought to idle or retarded.
Yeah. That can make a big difference.
Yeah. So.
Right? And I think the pilot. So yeah, basically, why don't you just tell us, just in a nutshell, what happened here?
So they landed and they hit this. So a little bit more background too. Apparently, the landing area is notorious for these very long swells that can have these kind of additive or subtractive effects and make it challenging to kind of judge where the best area for landing should be. So they got themselves into one of these swells and bounced with a left bank. So their instinct was to add power, which would be correct, but it seems like they have conflicting recollections as to how quickly that was done or how much power was actually applied. And maybe there was some coordination issues between the two of them as to how that was accomplished.
So the pilot flying was the first
FO,
officer that didn't have a lot of experience.
Yep.
But I think it said something about the fact that they had been flying a couple of times.
They flew a couple of days, and I guess the weather conditions had been worse, or the swells had been worse. So the captain had done the landings up until that point, and his assessment of the conditions on this flight were that the swells were better, more favorable, and would be a good time for this lesser experienced FO to go ahead and take the landing. And that's quite a bit of damage, actually.
Yeah, that's more than just a little scratch on the left wing.
Yeah, that's
so he let the guy do it, and then it was not properly timed, hit the swell, bounced, initiated a go around, except that. And I think that at some point, and as you said, Steph, the first officer recollected that he added power, but the training captain
said, no, that didn't happen. And he went to take over controls.
He took over. Okay. And then that's when he realized,
that's when he had, no, there's no power added.
Actually went the wrong way. So he added power. And then it said something about the lag and spooling up. So I guess, and I thought, well, spooling up, I thought that propeller airplane to get power immediately, but
not much. No, there's not much lag.
That's the question that I had for you. I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is not a jet. I mean, it's a turbine that's powering the propeller in a Twin Otter.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that same amount of. You're going to have pretty quick.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. That's they messed up and learned a lesson from it. Yeah, I think the takeaway for the captain was that he should be more.
He actually said to be more vigilant and be prepared to take over when needed.
Yeah.
Surprising that came from a line check captain or a
Right,
training
because that
captain, because that's
that's kind
basically
of
their job description.
exactly.
At least I would think.
Maybe I should be doing my job better as a line check airman.
This is why I have
That's
zero
basically what
interest in being a line check airman. I don't have to take over for other people.
yeah.
So, no.
Okay,
Anyway,
there we go. And you know what, Steph? We have another skydiving related accident, a final report.
yeah.
Sam Dawson sent this in to us saying, I thought Dr. Steph might find this one interesting, though it's a little long. And, but I don't think it's that long.
It's not that long. We don't need to read through all of it. Some of the
Right.
narrative is interesting in their analysis, I would say.
Okay.
Definitely quite familiar with this accident and had seen the final report already. It came out,
Okay.
I think, last week, the 16th, maybe. Anyway, this is one that happened in Oceanside, California. They were flying a Cessna Caravan with the Supervan conversion done by Texas Turbines, which is the same type of Caravan that I fly. So this is the Honeywell TPE 331 engine
We
and not a PT6.
we talked about this, right? When
We did. I'm sure we talked about it when it happened. It
yeah,
happened
like shortly after
last
it
year.
happened.
Mhm.
Okay, this is kind of ring a
Yeah,
bell.
and basically they landed short of the aircraft or the airport, impacting terrain. There are pretty substantial injuries or serious injuries with this accident, although I think they did both survive. The pilot flying was, I think, one of their usual regular pilots, and the pilot in the right seat was basically doing training or observing. I don't think he had been there very long doing that, so he was really just kind of familiarization flights, which is not uncommon to do in these types of operations for training purposes. But let's see, I don't know. There's probably some of this that I should read here to help clarify what exactly happened. I'll read this initial analysis and then get into some of it. So the analysis is pilot was performing skydiving operations in turboprop-equipped airplane. During the fourth flight of the day, after the skydivers departed the airplane, the pilot initiated a steep turning descent with the power at idle, during which the airplane reached a maximum descent rate of 6,400 feet per minute. It's kind of a lot.
Seems like
While our descent rates are quick, but that's a lot.
okay.
While the airplane was on the base leg of the traffic pattern, the pilot attempted to arrest the descent by adding power. However, the engine did not respond to his movements of the power lever. He moved the propeller speed lever, which also had no effect. He applied full nose up trim and pulled the control yoke full aft against the stop, but the airplane would not maintain a level attitude and subsequently collided with the terrain short of the runway in a nose low attitude.
So this thing is like dropping like
This
a
thing's
rock.
like 35 degrees nose down.
Oh my god. Okay, so which is not
I don't know
unusual,
at that
think,
point.
for-
I don't know at what point it hit at the point at which they hit the ground. I don't think it was that much of descent anymore, but it was still it was a lot.
Yeah, so obviously it sounds to me like okay, what he normally does is adds power and then pulls back,
Pulls
and
back
trims,
and
and it recovers and
Yeah.
stabilizes and gets in a normal kind of an attitude for landing and sink rate and all that kind of stuff. And that just didn't happen here.
Well, and the interesting thing to me is that I don't ever need to add power to arrest the descent rate.
Yeah.
That's where it's not something's not quite right here.
So you just normally just kind of pull back pressure on the yoke? Right?
Yeah, back pressure on the yoke, airspeed decays a little bit, and then if you find yourself short a little bit, usually you can add power back if you need it. Our goal always, or at least my goal, unless there's something going on in the traffic pattern or ATC had me do something odd, is to basically do a power off landing all the way from top of descent as best as I can possibly manage it. Or a power idle, right? In the Supervan, the Honeywell engine, with the power lever that they're referring to, you can bring it back as far as the flight idle detent. You can also, so on the ground, there's sorry, I dropped my cable on the ground there and made a lot of noise.
Didn't even
There's a ground idle where you have to actually pull up on the left. There's a, whatchamacallit, basically a way to I'm trying to think of the right word for what it is. You basically pull up on the metal pin underneath the power lever, and you can pull back so that you come past the gate, past the detent into ground idle. And then from there, if you continue moving the power lever farther back, especially with the propeller speed forward, you'll get into reverse. So in flight, you never go past that flight idle detent, which you can't do unless you pull up on that lever to pull or pull up on the pin to pull the lever past that gate.
And right now we're talking about the pitch of the propeller?
We're talking about the power being generated. So basically,
so when I think
torque,
of power, I think of
torque.
The turbine.
We're talking about torque, which is different from the RPM of the. Yes, it gets a little complicated. I'm not going to get into all of it maybe on this. There's actually a really good description towards the initial analysis, or the additional analysis. Let me see if I can find it quickly, because it'll do a better job
for
explaining.
me, because I've never flown in a machine like this, that you have kind of two different, we're talking about power, and
right,
but we mean kind of a couple of different things with the power. I mean, or you can produce power in different ways, maybe that's a better way to say it.
So you can always control the blade of the angles of the propeller in order to produce close to 100% RPM. So RPM is always given a percentage there, but then you can produce different torque along with that percentage of RPM by utilizing the two different levers.
Okay.
So, sorry, I'm not an A&P, and I'm not an instructor either, so well, I know how it works. I'm not great at explaining it.
I'm an old guy who's losing his mind. So
hold on. There's a good. I'm going to read this to you because this talks about the propeller operation, and it's probably actually worth reading all of this. Yeah, I'm just going to read through this because it'll do a better job of explaining what I'm trying to explain. So the airplane's engine is managed by the pilot through the power lever and the speed lever located in the cockpit center console. The engine power lever, which is black, connects to the propeller pitch control and manual fuel valve. The engine speed lever, which is blue, connects to the propeller governor and underspeed fuel governor. Okay. The propeller control system is designed to operate in either propeller governing range or in beta range. This is where it's really going to get confusing, sorry. But so when the engine power lever is forward of the flight idle gate, the engine is always in the propeller governing mode. As the airspeed decays, the propeller governor outputs higher and higher oil pressure until beta pressure is available. And then you get a little indication in the cockpit, it says beta. When that comes on, it tells you that if you bring the power lever back beyond the flight idle gate, you will be in beta mode. Yep. Question? Oh, I can't hear you.
Now I bet you can hear me.
I can hear you now.
So that is kind of like it'd be in reverse when that when it gets
no, but the blade pitch is going to become finer and finer, and it's going to get into this in a second. So hopefully this will make sense as we go through here.
I'll shut up.
Shut up, Jeff. Shut up, Jeff. So, yeah, so the gate is a mechanical detent in the engine control console that prevents inadvertent reduction of power lever below the flight idle setting. Yeah, unless you pull up on that pin and pull back, you can't get past that gate. So or T-handle they call it, that's a better word for it. So before the power lever can be reduced before the flight idle setting, the pilot must lift a silver T-handle located under the power lever over the detent gate and lock, which allows power lever to be moved further aft. In the propeller governing range, the power lever, so black lever closest to pilot, controls the engine power by adjusting the fuel flow from the manual fuel valve. Engine RPM is selected with the speed lever, which varies the propeller blade angle using the propeller governor. And once you're in, this is why I can't explain all this off the top of my head, because I know how it works.
Fly one of these kind of airplanes is way too complicated.
I know how it works. Don't ask me to take an oral exam on it anymore. I can't. In the beta range, so now once you're in beta range, so once that oil pressure is built up, the power lever now the power lever will vary the propeller blade angle as opposed to the speed lever. So to maintain the speed lever and what was it saying there? Yeah. So usually you want to be between 68 and 96% on the engine RPM. To get further into this, it gets more complex. You ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
I have not had that much. I've had like one sip of beer, and we're definitely not into a shimmy damper situation here. I promise.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. So, okay. So this propeller is the propeller that's on the aircraft is constant speed with feathering and reverse pitch capability. This is important in this accident. The propeller feature. We don't need to read that. I'm going to go down here farther. So, during operation at flight idle or above with sufficient airspeed, the propeller governor automatically regulates the propeller blade pitch angle based on the engine speed and power requirements. So that propeller pitch control unit is inactive during that flight mode. The engine propeller control ensures that the propeller blade angle remains above the safe in-flight minimum blade low pitch angle, which is 5.5 degrees. So you don't want the blades to become less, the angle to become less than 5.5 degrees. However, in beta mode, the propeller pitch control unit takes over, controls the propeller blade pitch angle, and any movement of the power lever that the pilot does will directly adjust the propeller blade angle now. So instead of using the speed to control the RPM, which then the power will control the blade angle, the power lever is doing that directly now. The propeller governor no longer controls the blade angle in this mode, however, still supplies the high pressure oil, and that's what allows you to get into beta mode. And beta mode will permit the blade angle to decrease below that 5.5 degree pitch. Okay. Sorry, it's a lot of convoluted stuff to get to what's good.
I understand it.
Yeah,
perfectly. Right
perfectly. Now. It's going to make more sense when we get into what happened during this flight now. Basically, all you need to know is that in flight, you should not be anywhere able to bring the blade pitch below 5.5 degrees. You shouldn't be able to get anywhere near reverse, right?
Okay. Unless you actually
do it manually, which requires you to bring the power lever beyond or aft of that flight idle gate detent. Okay. Which is a no-no. Definitely do not do that. That's number one no-no. Do not do this during flight. So I'm gonna read this paragraph and then we're gonna skip to what probably happened here.
Okay.
So if the power lever is placed below flight idle into beta mode during flight, as we said, it's gonna move into that fine blade angle. Depending on the propeller RPM and flight speed, might cause the this is kind of redundant. Sorry, let me read the correct. So. Basically what can happen, eventually the blades can get into reverse, but then because of the aerodynamic forces on the blades themselves, they become aerodynamically locked in that position, and you can't get them out of that fine pitch angle. So you will no longer have forward thrust available to you, no matter what you do. Yes?
So you have these things, they're spinning around.
Fast spinny things.
These fast spinning things. But they are not doing anything for you.
They don't do anything for you. Yeah. They're not going to produce any, or they're actually producing reverse thrust.
Oh, that's even worse.
That's even worse. Yeah. Okay. So either not doing anything or reverse. Okay. And they think, just to summarize this goes on for another couple of pages here, but to summarize what they think occurred here was that the power lever was aft of flight idle and the blades became aerodynamically locked. So no thrust and also possibly some reverse, which, yeah, that's why when he moved the power lever forward, nothing happened. And he was still descending at quite a high rate
and so the control
angle.
Surfaces, the other stuff, apart from the turbine engines and the propellers, still not enough.
Apparently not in this case. However, they had it locked. I mean, I'm assuming that he was able to arrest the descent rate somewhat because they did both survive this crash. And I think if they had been at a very high nose down angle still, that would have been not survivable. So I don't know how much they were able to arrest the descent rate, but they were still short of the airport too. So. Yeah.
Okay, so would this be considered pilot error?
I don't think they say that specifically in the final report, but let's see.
I mean, was there anything that they could have done to prevent this from happening, or was this just a
not
mechanical
putting
failure?
there's no evidence that it was mechanical failure.
Oh, so they kind of screwed up and somehow put the
They managed to, yeah,
lever,
and they
whichever
don't say
that's
whether that
called.
was something that this pilot was doing technique wise on a repetitive basis,
Hmm.
but they do mention that in the previous 2 flights of the day, or 3 flights, they observed, let me see where it says here, descent rates significantly higher than those required during descents with a different aircraft for which the power lever is known to have been set at flight idle.
And there's,
So,
I guess, also the Honeywell TPE 331 Pilot Tips publication gives a warning that in-flight beta mode is prohibited,
correct.
with the disclaimer, unless the airplane's certified for in-flight beta mode. So I guess this one was not
The,
certified for it,
we
right?
we don't use in-flight beta mode, and there should
No.
be there's a mosquito in front of me. Sorry.
Oh.
A distinction made between what some pilots who fly turboprop aircraft called beta descents and beta mode. Those are different things.
Okay.
Because again, what I was talking about earlier, you can actually reach an airspeed where you've built up the oil pressure governing the propeller such that you have beta mode available. So the beta light will
Hmm.
come on, and you'll have a very fine pitch in the blades, so you can have a very steep descent rate and control that at a pretty low speed, just
Hmm.
using the availability of the range of the propeller to do that. Kind of acts like a big speed breakout in front of the airplane, and
Hmm.
that is pretty commonly referred to as a beta descent. Whether you want to
Hmm.
get into the technicalities of whether that's truly beta, that's not beta mode per what the
Right.
propeller is.
Okay.
So there's always a lot of debate on that and what people are calling what. I would just call it a flat blade or fine
Hmm.
pitch approach, low
Okay.
airspeed.
But in this case, the pitch is probably still more than
It's
that
it's
five and a
it's
half
greater than
percent or
that five and
whatever.
a half percent. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
and to me the descent rate that he was able to achieve is a lot. It's pretty
Indicative
excessive.
of
Indicative of something
something of
excessive,
much
something else
finer
going
or
on.
reverse. Okay.
Yeah, and I hesitate to say a whole bunch because there wasn't really. I don't think they actually came out and said that this was pilot error, but they talk
Hmm.
around it quite a bit in this
Okay.
report. So
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that people that fly these types of airplanes understand the risks involved in doing what
it's
apparently happened here.
yeah, it's I mean it's any um, it's any airplane that you fly. You got to know how it works and how to operate it.
Hmm.
And I promise I do, despite not being able to clearly articulate on the spot all
Well,
the
I think it's
intricacies
one thing
between
for
the
some,
propeller, the
if you have
power
like an
lever, and the
in-depth
propeller
knowledge of
speed.
these things as you
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
sometimes it's hard to kind of tell somebody like a fifth grader, like
yeah.
me,
Exactly,
how that works. Well,
exactly.
what?
What?
I
What?
don't get it.
Oh,
Third
this is
grade?
so charitable.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Liz. I'm not quite at the fifth grade level.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love you too. Okay. Um, yeah. Y- You want to do some getting to know us, catching up
sure.
with what you've been up to, Steph?
Be happy to.
Okay.
Um. So let's see. When did we do this last week? So was I there
Well,
last week? I was not there last
no,
week.
because we
I
recorded on
missed.
Saturday morning,
Oh, that's right.
and then we
Okay,
did it with the week before is the
that's
last
right.
time that we
That's
had
right.
you on the
Okay.
show.
So in that time, we were talking about this a little bit before the show started, and we'll get into all the details yet because I'm still getting workup done for it. But jogging across a muddy, slippery field, I tweaked my knee, my left knee,
Was
which
this after the that marathon or
no,
triathlon
it
thing?
wasn't. No,
Oh,
yeah, it was at the drop zone, but it was
oh,
after
okay.
completion of a skydive. But the field was quite muddy and slippery, and I was kind of jogging with my stuff and just took a funny step, or what I thought was just a funny step. Like the ground kind of had a depression to it, and I was jogging, and I kind of misjudged the depth of it. So I landed with my knee a little bit extended or hyperextended.
Mm,
And then I landed in this muddy spot where my foot kind of went sideways on me at the same time.
mm.
Yeah, not great. It made some popping, crunching
Oh,
sounds, which are always lots of fun.
thank you for
Yeah,
telling us that.
yeah. So, but the backstory is that I've injured this knee in a similar fashion at least 4 other times over the past 25 years or so. Yeah, beginning with a trampoline injury when I was actually almost exactly 26 years ago to the day. And I
Trampolines are
remember
dangerous.
trampolines are dangerous.
I bit a
Probably,
hole in my
yeah. You
lip.
bit a hole in your
Yeah.
lip. Yeah. Well, I think I tore my ACL when I was just before I turned 16 on a trampoline, and I did nothing about it at the time, this is terrible medical advice. So don't. The show is not
Typical
here
doctor.
to. Yeah. Well, I wasn't a doctor at that point. I was a high school kid.
Typical
And I didn't even at that point I thought I was going to be a meteorologist. I didn't have a ton of interest in like medical stuff. I did get it checked out. They were like, "Wow, your knee's really swollen. You should do some physical therapy." Never like you should maybe get an MRI or go see an orthopedic
Before you do
doctor or
something that will
something.
damage it, like physical therapy,
Yeah.
you should
Well,
probably have it examined.
yeah. So I didn't do anything about it. And then I've had similar injuries over, like on average every 5 years or so. I just step funny, step wrong, pivot wrong, tweak it. So I wasn't terribly concerned about this because the usual course is it kind of gets really swollen. It's pretty sore and stiff. And then over a week or so, it starts to get better and it takes a couple weeks to fully go away.
That's just what my knee does.
It's just what my knee does. Doctors make the worst patients, by the way. I just want you to know. But this time around, so I was speaking of the super van, I was supposed to be flying this past weekend, but our weather was terrible. We had just low ceilings all weekend and we ended up canceling the day on Saturday. And I was reasonably sure it was going to be canceled on Sunday as well. So I had also, I went to Chicago for the day on Saturday because we had tickets to a show that night that I wasn't going to be able to attend because I ended up on the flying schedule. But then because we weren't flying, I was like, well, I can go to this show now. So I went up for the day and met up with my brother, my significant other, and his friends who were all there for the show, claimed my ticket, which was going to have gone unused if I hadn't been there. And it was a beautiful day in Chicago, unlike here, and went to the Cubs game and they won. Finally, after a scoreless game until the bottom of the ninth, they scored 1 run. And even then it had to be reviewed. But basically it came down to catcher having the ball at home plate and, it looked like he got him and tagged him out and then he dropped the ball. So yeah, it was exciting. But anyway, I did all this walking around Chicago, went to a show that night. And then the next morning got up and looked down at my not my knee, but my ankle. And it was swollen. So all of the fluid that had been in my knee drained down into the ankle, but it was also mixed with a lot of like bruising and contusion looking stuff, which normally doesn't happen. So, yeah, it was not a good sign. So I decided, all right, I'll let one of my partners know what's going on. And they ordered an MRI for me today. And I got the MRI done while I was at work today, which is kind of a nice perk of the job because the MRI scanner was right there outside my office. And I did get the results. It's a lot more than I thought was going on, which I won't get into right now because I have to figure out what to do about it. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's been
Amputate the whole leg, or
pretty much. I think that's where we're at. Yeah, marathon schedule, running schedule is now on indefinite hold. So we'll see. But I was really shocked when I saw the report though, because it really it's not a lot of pain. It was just swelling. And the only thing that made me concerned was seeing all the bruising that showed up finally a week later.
That's weird.
Yeah. But anyway, other than that, I'm good. Don't think I'll be jumping anytime soon either. No jumping, no running. I don't know.
Take it easy, girl.
Been able to drive just fine. Yeah, no running on wet, muddy surfaces. So I was hoping it was something I'd just be able to rehab my way through, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
But
But
it's all right.
maybe
It
this
happens.
is a good thing to kind of discover what's really going on in there before you do more damage.
Well, now I wish I'd had an old MRI to compare and know what was old and what's new, because I don't know entirely what's new and what was old injury. Yeah. But I look back because I'd had a running injury a couple years ago, and I couldn't remember which knee it was that was bothering me, but it turns out it was my right knee, and that was a totally normal MRI. So not helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think I have anything else going on. Had a nice day in Chicago. I came back here early on Sunday because it looked like maybe it would clear up in the afternoon for jumping, and then that didn't happen either. So Liz wants to know if I ate any Portillos. I did not have any Portillos. I did have a hot dog at the ballpark, though.
I love ballpark hot dogs. Good.
Especially Chicago ballpark hot dogs. Good.
Yeah,
Deanna
Chicago,
beef.
they know how to do a hot dog.
Yeah, no ketchup. You mentioned ketchup earlier, and I was laughing. I was like, no ketchup.
Yeah, I don't do ketchup on my hot dogs. Yeah, at all. I like mustard and onions. Yeah. Well, Jinx, Liz and I are saying the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. What else? Nothing else. Yeah.
Speaking of skydiving, we have some feedback, and I'm in my mind right now. I'm thinking, how am I going to put all this together and try to make it as seamless as possible? And I think it will be impossible. Yeah, but anyway,
it doesn't matter. You can just say at the beat when you do the actual beginning of the show with the guys on Thursday or whatever day. Just say, Steph was here. She'll be here, in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, seamless is senseless at this point. So yeah, that's a good idea, Steph. I'll just say, hey, you're going to hear a couple of times during the show Steph's voice and discussing a couple of news items and a feedback item, and just don't ask questions.
I can't answer any questions in real time.
I'm not sure why or how it's happening, but it is. It's happening. Okay. So
this is a good feedback. I'm excited about this one.
Well, so who's this feedback from, Steph?
It's from Deanna.
And what does she have to say?
About her first skydive. So she says, would you like me to read this?
I would, or I could read it and then you could respond, or I don't know, however you'd like to do it.
Yeah, go ahead and read it and I can jump in with things.
Okay, which number is it again?
14. I would have just read it.
Okay, here it is. Come on now. Come on, Evernote. You can do it. Okay. From Deanna Tickle, my first skydive. Hi, crew, and especially Dr. Steph. I crossed an item off my bucket list and went skydiving today. At a family Christmas last year, several of us discussed doing it, and 3 of us actually followed through. We had beautiful weather at the drop zone in Salisbury, North Carolina, in Kakalaki. Leading up to the event, I was not too nervous because friends who had dived before assured me you don't get that dropped stomach feeling during free fall due to the wind resistance.
Yep, that's true. Everyone thinks it's going to be like a roller coaster ride where you jump out of the airplane and your stomach kind of sinks, and there's really none of that. Now, if you jump out of like a hot air balloon where you have to you don't have the relative wind immediately, then you do get a little bit of that sensation. But
I can see the difference there. Yeah, because in a balloon, there's you're in still air.
You're in still air. When you jump out of an airplane, you've got about 100 miles an hour of 100 knots of wind in your face immediately.
Gotcha. Okay. So she continues, 2 days before, I made the mistake of watching multiple videos, and the view from inside the airplane just before exiting triggered my sense of self-preservation, and the trepidation increased. I wasn't sure I'd follow through. It didn't help that I watched a news story about a facility that had over 20 deaths, the most recent being an 18-year-old kid and the tandem diver who died when the primary and reserve chutes failed to deploy. They interviewed the owner of the facility, who literally said that the first couple of deaths bothered him, but after that, he didn't dwell on it.
That sounds like a super place.
Yeah.
I have a guess as to where that is, and I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay. Anywho, she says, I told everyone at work and my friends that I was doing it, so I'd feel committed and less likely to chicken out. When we arrived, I was initially nervous, but as I watched the divers floating down and flaring to land, my primary emotion shifted from trepidation to anticipation. By the time they put the harness on, I was all smiles. I don't typically take great photos, but the one of me walking toward the plane looked pretty badass, if I must say so myself. I can practically hear Danger Zone playing when I see it. Our aircraft was a PAC, a PAC? How would you say that stuff?
PAC 750.
A PAC 750, designed specifically for skydiving. I was still all smiles in the airplane because, well, I was in an airplane. When the divers in front of me started exiting, you could see my facial expression change to a look of doom. It was horrifying to know I was seconds away from exiting a perfectly good
That's
aircraft.
a great shot if you're watching the video or looking at your pictures on the
Yeah, we'll
on your
have that
podcast player. Yeah.
on the chapter image.
Oh, hey,
Okay,
there's
so
Dakota. Hi, Dakota.
the facial expression it has changed. It does have the appearance of doom. It was horrifying to know I was seconds away from exiting a perfectly good aircraft. I've already read that. The free fall was not what I expected and was not what I'd call enjoyable. What? Oh, okay. Um, while my friends were correct that I wouldn't get the dropping in the pit of the stomach sensation, I hated the force of the wind against my face. Internally, I was screaming, "Oh my God!" repeatedly, but no sound came out. I just have a look of frozen horror. Once the chute deployed, the floating was very relaxing, and I was able to enjoy the view. Our landing was soft. Despite my feelings of perceived danger, Despite my feelings of perceived danger, I felt confident in the knowledge and professionalism. Let me try all that again. Despite my feelings of what's
I'll
wrong
read.
with me today? I'm going to try it just to kind of keep the continuity going here. Despite my feelings of perceived danger, I felt confident in the knowledge and professionalism of the people running the operation. The instructors took the time to explain how to position our bodies and to give us a safe, comfortable ride. Overall, it was a cool experience, and I'm glad I did it. However, I don't feel particularly inclined to do it again. And then, so she goes through and talks about the photos here. The first photo, feeling confident and eager to jump. The second photo, relatively cool walking photo approaching the aircraft. It looks kind of like a still frame of an action movie. If I looked like a movie star, she says. Third photo, no one had departed the aircraft yet, so I was still at the relaxed stage. Someone had cracked a joke. Fourth and fifth photos. Note the facial expression change as I watch people in front of me jump, and the sit at the exit myself. And then the sixth photo is immediately after leaving the airplane. Seventh photo is finally able to smile-ish during the free fall. Eighth photo is after chute deployment. My harness slid way up. Ninth, back on the ground. Deanna. Okay. That is so cool, Deanna. And now our skydiving expert is going to add her analysis and her reaction.
Reaction. No, I'm really glad you went through with it and did it, and were not put off by that stuff that you looked up on the internet beforehand, because I don't know, the internet is a scary place. But the folks that you jumped with up there in Salisbury are professionals and colleagues, and I recognize a lot of the faces of some of the tandem instructors there, because there's, we're not that far away from them, and there's some crossover between where people work sometimes. So glad you had a good experience with them. I know a lot of them personally, and yeah, I have no doubt that they were very professional and made you feel very comfortable and confident. I will say that it's probably one of my favorite things about flying jumpers is watching tandem students exit, and in particular, some of the things that are said right before exit, and some of the screams that occur, and the facial expressions that are made. They never get old, really, and a lot of them are like yours. So don't, you're not alone in the oh my goodness, what have I just gotten myself into facial expressions. They're always a joy to watch. And I'm actually the same. I don't really care for that much wind in my face, but much like your tandem instructor, I have a full face helmet now, so you don't get that sensation of the wind really just blasting your face.
And this photo, put that back, please, Liz. Whose arm is that?
It's Deanna's arm.
Oh, so she
I think she actually has the camera. Yeah, there's a way to do hand cam video where the students are actually given the camera.
Okay, cool.
And given instruction on just hold your arm out here.
Okay, because I noticed her right arm is hooked
on the
onto
harness.
The harness, and it seems like that would kind of prevent some instability. But it looks like the tandem
The
diving
tandem
guy
instructor is
is
gonna, as the tandem student, you're relatively arched and not doing a lot of bending forward at the hips. It's going to be stable, and the tandem instructor can control most of that motion.
gotcha. So apparently it's not the same school that we were talking about earlier on the news report that she saw.
No,
Or
no,
this, not the same
no.
school, but the same drop zone, I guess
Drop
you guys
zone.
call it.
Yeah, drop zone.
Yeah. Yeah, after the first couple of deaths, you get used to it.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
over
not
it.
gonna. Yeah, yeah. Also, I don't know that I would take at face value everything that you see about things that are attributed to people in quotes on the internet. Hopefully, that is not
What?
something that was actually said.
No.
Um,
I mean, like news organizations even don't tell you exactly the
Yeah.
straight truth on
the straight
things.
truth. Yeah, I'd take all that with a
Wow, that's
healthy grain of salt, but I also probably wouldn't be signing up to go do a tandem at someplace with that kind of
you really burst my bubble there, stuff.
those kinds of reviews.
Okay. Okay. Let's do that. Oh, do we have to do Tim Van Ram? I thought we banned him. This is the first time I've seen that photo.
Oh, is it? I've seen this one before, but it's a good one. I'm glad Jeff
Okay,
enjoys
Tim Van Ram sends us, take your child to work day. It looks like, what is this, like an Instagram or something, or
Yeah, it
some
probably
kind
came
of a
from
social
Instagram.
media.
It's a meme.
It's a
Someone
meme.
photoshopped some things together here, but it's pretty
Says
cute.
today was take your child to work day. Timmy didn't enjoy it.
With a little frowny face, kind of a sad frowny face.
Yeah.
What is Timmy doing?
Well, Timmy is not in an airplane. He's on an airplane, on the windshield, hanging onto the windshield wiper, I think.
He's got his mouth wide open and screaming, having a
No,
very
see-
different experience than what Deanna had on her skydive. Though this is definitely a different type
Although
of
the facial
screaming
expression is kind of similar.
Kind of similar. Yeah.
A couple of
Not
those
not
photos.
dissimilar.
No.
Concerning.
And I'm assuming that either mommy or daddy are at the controls that were and taking the picture.
or worse, both.
Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, mommy's in the left seat, daddy's in the right
Daddy's in
seat.
the right
and we got
seat.
Timmy out there on the
Yeah.
nose.
This is how you earn your wings, kid. You want to be a pilot like the rest of us? You gotta go for a ride outside the airplane.
Man up. What's that now, Liz? Oh, maybe this is a photo of Tim
Source
when
of
he was
his
younger.
PTSD.
That explains a lot. All right, that's funny. Oh, absolutely. That's great. That's great.
Super cute. Love it.
Great. Yeah.
That works.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time. I know you're very busy, and you're very you're very sick and disabled.
Not sick.
So we're glad you pushed through it.
I don't appreciate you referring to my mental
I'm talking about
illness.
your mental
I know.
health,
That's why I'm offended.
not your physical.
I'm offended.
Are you? Okay, we have
No.
an email address. I'm offended at airlinepilotguy.com. Yeah, we gotta
It'll
do
be
something
it'll be
about that.
refiltered and it'll all just come directly to me for the next little bit. It's fine.
Well, hello, Dave and
Yes,
Derek.
we should acknowledge
you have to be-
our amazing live studio audience, Dave and
Yeah.
Derek.
And today you have to have a first name that starts with a D to be in our
I'm glad they got the memo.
live chat room. Yeah. And Deanna,
Feedback.
It's a triple D day. And I was going to say I guess I'm just now reading some of the comments, and it looks like Derek is somewhere in BC, west from Calgary. Yeah, because Calgary is in Alberta. So it must be. I guess Derek must be on the other side of the mountains, or somewhere up in the mountains, another range. Oh, okay. That's gorgeous country up there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm not sure if I'm gonna head west from after that little camping trip. Although I have just under 2 weeks to get down to Branson, so you never know. I might do that. Yeah, do that so we can put you in our database and then on the map. Woohoo! Yeah, it's going to get to the point where I'll never have to pay for a campground or overnight. Oh, look at that! Very good. Although I will have to occasionally go in campground so that I can have I can dump my black holding tank.
Not just going to do that on your on someone's
Or I
yard.
could do it on people's driveways. Yeah, Christmas vacation.
It's
Cousin
full.
Eddie.
It's full. Cousin Eddie.
I just got to make sure I have a cigar, have that hat that he wears in a really ratty looking bathrobe, and then we'll be set. Yep, RV at airlinepilotguy.com. Just above Idaho. Yeah, I know. I was going, man, it was a mistake to join this live chat today.
It's like, nope. Nope.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I might just, he's turning green. Yeah, I promise.
It'll just have the stipulation that you must empty your black tank at a campground before visiting Derek.
Or if I don't, I promise I'll make every effort not to purposely dump any of my sewage on your lawn. I do have a macerator system. So, I mean, it is kind of, you'd have to be pretty intentional to accidentally dump stuff where you didn't expect to dump it. Okay, let's do that.
Moving on.
Yeah, this is a pretty crappy subject matter we're talking about. Yeah. Yep. Dave, good to see you, man, and look forward to seeing you in person in a couple months? Yeah.
Gosh.
Almost exactly. For that? Oh, you're bringing it up again, Liz. You told me not to mention. Okay. For the campers to pump? Ooh, I could do some pumping. Oh, you're talking about sewage. Okay. All right. Well, leave it on that note. Bye-bye.
Great ending. Love it. Bye.